If you feel your business partner is not contributing at the same level that you are contributing and you can't do anything about them because they happen to be your family members, then in this week's episode of Get Real with Rajiv, I have a solution for you. And also in this week's episode of Get Real with Rajiv, I want to talk to you about what do you do when you have a customer in a B2B environment where the decision maker is asking you for a kickback or a commission. How do you handle that situation? I'm also going to answer the question around if you come from an engineering background and accounts and numbers overwhelm you, what should you look out for while managing your accounting activity in your business? And finally, I'm going to answer the question around, is it healthy for your business to be dependent on just 2 or 3 customers? And if anything happens in the business of those 2 or 3 customers and it damages your projects, your revenues, then what should you do? If you'd like answers for all these questions, then tune into episode number 86 of Get Real with Rajiv. Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 86 of Get Real with Rajiv. Like every single week, I'm going to be answering 4 questions, and today Pawan is going to be the voice of your questions. So Pawan, what's the first question?
Vikram's question is, I come from an engineering background and therefore I don't understand accounting for my business. Do you feel that this puts me in a disadvantage? And how do you think I should wrap my head around accounts?
Well, Vikram, all I would say is that nothing that any of us would have studied in our traditional academics would be that relevant and game-changing for our businesses. In fact, if you look around the world, most people are doing something that has nothing to do with what they studied in academic education. So don't make this self-talk that I've come from an engineering background your reality. Having said that, here's what I would say. Let me give you a quick crash course on accounting. What you really need to understand as a business owner when it comes to accounting. When it comes to accounts, there are 3 key responsibilities of your accounting activity in your business. The first responsibility is accuracy. What do I mean by accuracy? You need to have a mechanism to record every transaction of your business in an accurate manner. Could be in an accounting software, could be in the old school ledgers and books, but that is the first and the most basic responsibility of accounts, to capture data of transactions in an accurate manner. So for this, make sure you've hired a freelancer or a full-time person based on the volume of transactions. If you have a good amount of volume of transactions in your business, make sure you have a full-time accountant. If let's just say you have very few volumes of transactions and you don't even have 3 hours of work on a daily basis for an accountant, then you can start with a freelance accountant, and you can find a freelance accountant for anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 rupees a month, where that person will come once a week to your office, enter all the transactions in your accounting software or in your accounting system, and file all the bills, challans, reports, invoices, maintain different folders for all these categories of paperwork, and give you a report on a weekly basis. That's how easy it is to outsource accounting. So the first responsibility is accuracy. The second responsibility of accounting is compliance. What do I mean by compliance? As a business, you need to have the required registrations, the required licenses and permissions to run your business, and you need to pay your taxes on time, your GST on time, your income tax return on time, your professional tax on time, your TDS on time, your employee PF or ESI on time. And for making sure that your business is compliant, get a good chartered accountant, somebody who can simplify your life and handle all the compliance aspects, along with your freelance accountant or with your full-time accountant. Have a chartered accountant who's taking care of compliance related issues in your business, because you don't want unnecessary attention from the law of the land. The third most critical responsibility of accounts, which is the most important according to me and the most commonly ignored responsibility of accounts, is reporting. Now, something that you need to do, Vikram, is you need to break down for your business, based on the nature of your business, some 2 or 3 key parameters, financial parameters that is important for you to measure. Like it could be profit per project or expenses per project, or it could be your cash flows. Identify what are those top 2 or 3 parameters which are relevant to your business, and have a reporting system in your business where you are getting visibility of data so that you can do your analysis on those parameters on a weekly basis, to say the least. One of the biggest challenges that I see in small and medium businesses is that business owners don't have access to data on an ongoing basis, because of which they make decisions without data, and decisions without data turn into disasters. So Vikram, based on whatever business you are running, identify what financial parameters need to be tracked on a weekly basis, need to be evaluated on a weekly basis, and make sure that there's a reporting system so that you can see and track that data on a weekly basis. So that is the third responsibility, which is reporting. So Vikram, I've given you a crash course on accounts. 3 responsibilities: accuracy, compliance, reporting. As long as you are taking care of these 3 responsibilities, you're way ahead than any commerce graduate as well who's building a business, because most entrepreneurs are not taking care of all these 3 responsibilities of accounts. So I hope that gives you a lot of clarity, Vikram. With that, let's go to the second question for the week. So Pawan, what's the second question?
Jagdish is asking, if a client is asking for a commission or a kickback, is it okay to pay and get the project?
Jagdish, that's like the most raw, bare naked question I've been asked on Get Real with Rajiv. Well, firstly, Jagdish, I'm nobody to dictate the morality standards of an individual, each one to their own. I know people who find it very, very okay, acceptable, and even proud of paying money and getting projects. So I know for a fact that I am nobody to dictate the morality standards of an entrepreneur. Having said that, I can only talk from my own experience and from my own perspective. And in my perspective, let me tell you this. In the 14 years of me being an entrepreneur and building multiple businesses, especially in my business where we were depending on B2B clients, I saw this as a very common practice where some decision makers in large corporate organizations who boast about great value systems and integrity and morality standards and call themselves the gems of India's pride and the torchbearers of ethics in those organizations especially, I used to see a lot of key decision makers expect kickbacks and commissions to be able to allot projects and select vendors. And in my 14 years journey, to confess, I have done that once. I did pay a kickback to a decision maker in a corporate organization to get a deal, only to feel like a prostitute at the end of it. And that experience I can never take out of my heart, because I realized I was looked at as somebody who just paid money and got the work, and I was not valued for the quality of work we delivered. And from that day I made a decision that I'm not going to play this dirty game. After that, I've had multiple experiences where people sit in front and ask me, "Hamara kya? Humko kitna?" And I know at that moment that that's not my game, and I've walked out of those deals. And I know walking out of those deals is only possible and practical to a certain extent. But if that's the way of working of your industry, then it really starts making you feel like an idiot, where you are holding on to this flag of ethics while everybody around you is engaging in this almost as though it's the norm. And for me, that started happening, and that's when I made a decision to reduce the dependency on B2B clients and build a business which is B2C, where I am in control of the way I want to do business, and I don't want to give in to the lack of ethics of certain people or decision makers. So if you feel it's becoming a norm in your industry and you're not aligned to it, it's time to reinvent your business model and look at another audience altogether where you can do business in the way that you would love to do it. So that would be my suggestion, Jagdish. But yeah, I know that this is a very common practice nowadays in B2B organizations, especially in large corporate organizations, where the procurement manager, admin manager, HR manager, marketing manager, every manager who has some requirement is actually making parallel money over there out of their power and their designation. So if you don't align to it, I'm saying don't change the world, change your game. And when you change your game, you change your own world. Which brings me to the third question for the week. So Pawan, what's the third question?
Praveen Singh's question is, what do you do when you have an unproductive partner and that partner happens to be a family member?
Oh my God. I call that the classic mistake of family businesses. Praveen, I can only feel your pain, my friend, because in your business, you guys have made the classic mistake of empowering a person as a business partner or a director in the business, not because they fit the capabilities required in that role, but because they are a part of your family. And this is my request to every family business owner who's watching this video. Don't make people partners, managers, leaders, directors, head of departments just because they are your family. Give them that role only if they have the skills, knowledge, attitude to be able to fit into that role and do justice to that role. Because if you give them the role just because you trust them, because they are your family, trust is not the only requirement to lead a business. Please understand that. Then you start developing hatred and irritation towards that person because you feel, I trusted them, I gave them the responsibility, but they are so lethargic, they are so laid back, they don't have the capabilities, they are not producing results, because you made them the head of an activity that they have no capabilities for. So please allocate roles based on a person's capability, not based on their relationship to you. And if you've already made this mistake, then here's your option. Your option, Praveen, is to actually have a conversation with that person and see whether they are on the same page. Do they also feel that they are not doing justice to that role? Or are they blinded in their glory saying, I am director, so this is my birthright? Because if they are blinded in their glory saying, I'm born in this family, therefore I deserve to be a director and it's my birthright, then you're doomed, my friend. My only recommendation then would be to wrap your own cards and see how you can move away and not get into the squabble and go build something from scratch, trusting your own capabilities. But if that other person has a little sense of reality and they are connected to reality, and even they have the humility to acknowledge saying, yes, I am not doing the job as per expectations, I'm not doing justice to this role, and I'm having this designation which is actually becoming a burden for me because I can't see my team members in the eye because of my lack of capability in this activity. If that person's connected to reality, then you're blessed to at least have a family member who has the humility and the connection to reality, and you use that to create a performance improvement plan. You use that to firstly list out the tasks to be done in that role, break down the skills, knowledge required to do those tasks in an effective manner, and then identify a mentor or a coach for this individual to develop the skills and knowledge required to be able to do justice to that role. So put them on a performance improvement plan. But even after the performance improvement plan, if they just don't have the fabric to play that role, then either find them a role in the organization which suits their talent, suits their capabilities, or just let them free and allow them to go out there and explore themselves in the world and see what fits best for them and what's the nature of work that they would like to do. But if you have somebody who believes that they deserve it because they were born in the family, correcting a person like that, it's painful. So I would just say, Praveen, get out of the way. Go start something from scratch instead of breaking your head in a family melodrama. That would be my honest recommendation. Now, is this decision easy? No, it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy, but not doing this will only make life more difficult. So you need to now choose, do what's right or to just engage in the family melodrama. You need to choose that, my friend. With that, let's go to the fourth and final question for this week's episode of Get Real with Rajiv. So Pawan, what's the fourth question?
We have Rani Kumar asking, I run a system-centric institutional catering business. Our role is to organize blue-collar staff and create a systemic and functioning unit. Suddenly, one of our esteemed and oldest customers decided to terminate the contract with us and decided to hand over the unit to a less competent vendor as a cost-cutting measure during the pandemic. The unit was 8 years old and we had put in a lot of effort into developing it. It not only feels like a dejection, it is also very disheartening to see this happening. How can we avoid this in the future?
Well, Rani, what's happened is definitely unfortunate, but it's also a big lesson for you and for all the entrepreneurs who are watching this video right now. I want you to consider this. A lot of business owners bask in the glory of having 1, 2, 3, 5 or a handful of clients. And they say, I've got enough business from these handful of clients and therefore my business is sorted. Let me tell you this. If your business is dependent on a handful of clients and they are your regular customers and all your business, all your revenue comes from them, two things in this situation. Number one, you are blessed. Number two, please use this blessing to create a parallel business model where you have control and you can independently grow it. Because if you don't and you become complacent because you have this handful of stable old customers, then you're not a business, my friend. You're just a support unit. You're just an ancillary unit to your client. And that's a very, very risky situation to be in. I am saying that you are blessed to have customers who are giving you stable business, but don't use that blessing to become complacent. Use that blessing to co-create, to come up with new ideas, new business models, new business lines, parallel business ventures where you are in control of scale and growth. Because God forbid, tomorrow, due to any reason, your client pulls the plug on you, you come crashing down. And I've seen this happen so many times with so-called stable businesses who've been around for a decade and a half, and they're having turnovers running into hundreds of crores, but the dependency is on only 2 or 3 customers. And the day something happens in the business of that customer and they decide to pull the plug, overnight this business owner who thought they were successful, who thought they were stable, who thought they were in control, realize that they have zero control on their own financial destiny. They have zero control on their own business. So Rani, use this as a tough lesson that you've learned and build a business which is in your control, where you're not relying just on stable customers. If you have stable customers, that's a blessing, but don't use the blessing as a reason for becoming complacent. That's a big lesson for you, Rani, and for everybody who's watching. With that, we come to the end of episode number 86 of Get Real with Rajiv. If you found the answers in this episode useful, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to click on the link below and register yourself for my upcoming 4-hour training called the Business Breakthrough Seminar. The Business Breakthrough Seminar is my signature program where I teach entrepreneurs a step-by-step system on how to build a business which can grow without them. This is where I help entrepreneurs break the trap of self-employment, where everything is dependent on them, and build a stable and successful business. So click on the link below and register yourself for the Business Breakthrough Seminar. I look forward to seeing you there at the 4-hour training.